Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Geek Verse review. I am the big boy, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by.
The Ladybug, Kirklin Patzer.
I'm the tank engine, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got a nice special review here because you know what? Kelowna every once in a while has been getting some nice early screenings, and guess what? We got an early screening of Bullet Train. So how this is going to work, if this is you're seeing this on the podcast feed right now, I'll explain how it works for the audio and then the video. Video, it's going to be one video, or yeah, it's just going to be the video is going to be one video. We will give you the warning, of course, when hey, this is time to back out. If you've not seen the movie, jump away, come back later. And then for audio, it'll be split into two parts. So you get a non-spoilers version, and then on Friday, the actual spoilers version will drop. We got lots of good stuff going because not only we got the Bullet Train reviews happening right now, we got the Predator review. I guess it's not Predator, but Prey dropping. That drops. Our review will be going live Friday, but it'll drop on the podcast feed Saturday. And go back and check out. We reviewed every single Predator leading up to this, excluding AVP, but all the Predator films we reviewed. And yeah, there's tons of stuff I'm doing. My Travis Told You cast. It's been a banger week. Had a big Batgirl podcast today. I'll probably be talking a little bit about that tomorrow because Warner Brothers released a really good statement that explains everything really smoothly and it doesn't make them sound idiotic at all. But what's changed since we started this podcast? What's changed though? You can find us a bunch of different places. Taylor, where can you find us? Where are those places?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. And GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Links below has everything: video, audio. Definitely want to join the Discord. Our Discord was a popping off place today in the middle of this Warner Brothers thing and Batgirl thing. It is a place you want to be. The Discord, we'll get to the Patreon, but the Discord is completely free. There's the link in the comments, or the links in the links, I guess. So go there. And yeah, Patreon, we're putting more content than we ever have. I think it's either this week or next week. I counted there's 1 week where we have 13 casts coming out. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, there's 7 days in the week. We're almost giving you 2 weeks worth of content in 7 days. And there might be another cast that pops up because there's always stuff going on. And a big thank you to listeners, but the biggest thank you to our patrons that do support us. Not only do you go over there and get a good bunch of benefits as far as ad-free shows, early shows, there's 3 exclusive shows. A big thank you to our Phase 4 Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Smalley Biggs, and Joshua Wright. And probably one of my favorite episodes that dropped. I said this on Twitter, we're all a bit biased, but it was fun to be on the other side. It's officially on the feeds. Our GV Better Halves cast. That is our ladies talking about us and themselves. It is all our significant others, girlfriends, wives, and it's worth a listen. That's on there for the Phase Tune-Up tier. It's ad-free. It's up there. You got the video version as well. It was lots of fun. We're gonna be doing After 9 soon, and I think we're gonna be responding to a few things because I have a couple questions that I learned about these gentlemen, and maybe they do. And I just have to also talk to Kirklin. Definitely, I was gonna bring up tonight, but I've just talked to him about some footwear he was wearing tonight because I was just completely in disgust today of what happened. Taylor also did something in disgust too. I gotta put them in my notes about his playlist. Man, I'm gonna tell you guys this thing he does.
That's not disgusting. It's completely orthodox and organized.
Okay, it's not disgusting. It's just like psychotic. But that's why tune into After 9.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got a good bunch of topics, and a good topic we're talking about right now is Bullet Train. This is a David Leitch film starring Brad Pitt and a whole whack of other great actors and actresses. You've probably seen the trailer, but the main plot is Brad Pitt is a gun for hire and has to retrieve a briefcase, and from there a bunch of shenanigans happen. So Taylor Field, what did you think of Bullet Train? Of course, non-spoilers.
Well, when I first saw the trailer, I got excited, naturally. It just seemed like it was humorous.
Naturally, just any trailer. Naturally.
Yeah, it was humorous. It had some cool sequences, and at its core, it definitely had me intrigued. And more trailers came out, and I didn't see all of them. There were a couple things I watched, but it wasn't helping or hindering my interest for this movie. It's just like, okay, well, yeah, the movie's coming out. The thing that really got me excited was the fact that, okay, it's coming out a little bit early. We're going to see it together in the theater. And after seeing it, it blew my mind. I actually enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to. It was really, really funny. I had some good serious moments, which I appreciate, but overall the film humor totally worked with me. I was laughing, and it was great. It had know if that's too spoilery, but it had a nice element of mystery to it, I guess you could say.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
Not a
You
spoiler?
can say there's
Okay.
mystery in a movie as long as you're not like, and the fucking mystery is Darth Vader's his father. You know, like as long as you don't do that shit. You know.
Well, it reminded me of elements of Knives Out to a degree, where it just had like a very good. It's not just a random story. There is a good start, middle, end to this movie, and it's fun because I feel like everything that they're introducing in the film, you can be attentive to it, and I like how things pay off throughout the movie when they introduce certain things. So I think it's a great movie just to go in and not go into just expecting to be like, I don't know, dumbified, like, oh, it's just going to be a shoot 'em up film or something like that. No, there's actually different layers to this movie. There's comedy, there's seriousness, and there's a mystery factor too. And overall, it just creates this nice layered film that is just, with Brad Pitt, is just a cherry on top with this film. Like, goddamn, he's great.
Kirkland Patzer.
Yeah, I feel like kind of like what Taylor was saying. That first trailer, it had me interested, but like it didn't really like shoot up or shoot down my excitement. It was just, oh yeah, this is coming out. I'll probably check that out, and that was kind of it. And I feel like every piece of promotion like after that, it pretty much did the same. Like, okay, Brad Pitt's in here. I really like Brad Pitt, and then the slew of cast members was kind of exciting, but my excitement never really like fluctuated at all. Like ever since I like first heard about this movie, so I was going to do it like just very room temperature, and man, yeah, I definitely a pleasant surprise. I was very, very positive on this movie. There's definitely some moments, I think, early on when I was a little bit worried, which I'll go into once we get to spoilers. But for the most part, like, I think the movie did such a good job at kind of getting me to forget about those moments that I kind of like would have forgotten about, or maybe not forgotten about. I am forgetting about them now because a lot of the movie was really enjoyable, but maybe some moments that I would have really like dragged down my rating on the movie. Like I'm not even thinking about those moments anymore because there's just so many positives, and the main positive of this movie is Brad Pitt. He was like 10 out of 10 with me, and I feel like all the stuff around him was so good. And yeah, like just yeah, like he was fantastic. I feel like if I didn't like anything but him in this movie, I probably still would have passed it because he was just so fantastic. But there was still a lot of other things in this movie that I did like. So I'm excited to talk details. And like this isn't even spoilers because it's in the trailer. I completely forgot like majority of people that were in the trailer. So like every time that they popped up, I was like, oh my god, like this person's in here. So it was very fun to have that in the movie. Like obviously once I see their face, it's like, of course I saw them in the teaser trailer. How am I forgetting this already? But so that was kind of fun. And yeah, I think it was just a very enjoyable movie for me. Like I'm excited to rewatch this. Shay was next to me. She was laughing a lot in the movie too, and I figured she would have just hated it. So it was a good movie going experience. It was like visually pleasing. There was a lot of fun like Japanese stuff going on in this movie. The music was really fun too. They had like Japanese covers of a few like classic 80s songs, so those were really, really fun. And yeah, like I said, it was just a fun time, and going in not really expecting much and then getting that, like that was awesome. So I'm very happy about this one. I'll definitely be recommending it to people for sure moving forward.
Very nice. Well, I hate to be a stick in the mud, and I hate to talk about how I had a different experience than these two watching this. And luckily, I don't got to do that tonight because I fucking absolutely love this movie more than I ever thought I would. Ever thought I would, because I'm the same thing. I think Brad Pitt is one of the greatest actors we've ever had. It's one of those things because he's a good-looking guy. You know, he kind of gets written off sometimes. Like, oh, yeah, it's just Brad Pitt. But no, this guy, he can go with the best of the best. I mean, he's delivered some fantastic performances over the years. And this is another one. This is like the closest now. Obviously, there's a serious edge to the film I'm about to mention. But this is like the closest we've gotten like Fight Club Brad Pitt, I think, in a long time. Like there is like a kind of boyish charm, kind of dumbfounded, very jockey-esque type of Fight Club, you know, comedy that got bring to that. And this character has those moments, but the good thing about this character is he's like lovable and actually, you know, I don't know if I want to say good person because it's a movie full of assassins, a hitman, so there's always a level of how good they could be, but he's, as you've seen him train, he's trying to be a good person. But I was just like, okay, I like pretty much everything David Leitch has done so far. You know, John Wick, he did Deadpool 2, he did Hobbs and Shaw. Like, he always makes enjoyable films for me to varying degrees, right? I think this is his best film. I think this is one of Brad Pitt's best films and role, because there's so many lines and so much dialogue in here with any actors, it could fall completely flat, whether it's the facials or the actual jokes, and he sells it. And I think there's even some stuff that might be just fine, but he just knocks it out of the park. And it's funny, this year, it's just, man, what a fantastic year of movies. And I don't want to say this yet because it's like hyperbolic, but like I've said before, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think could be like the best movie ever made. That's hyperbolic, but it's like just the way I feel. I got The Batman, which is like now probably my favorite movie of all time. And this might be my favorite action movie of all time. I need to rewatch it again. I'm not as strong as the other ones, but I could not believe how good it was, because as I was saying, like, I love Brad Pitt, I like David Leitch, I liked the concept of, okay, a bunch of assassins on a train trying to get a briefcase. That sounds like fun. That sounds like I was a big fan of Smoking Aces back in the day, if anyone had ever seen that movie. I like when it's a bunch of, it's not the heist per se, but it's that a bunch of people are after one thing and they're gonna collide. You know, this also has a lot of tone of Seven Psychopaths. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen that, but Taylor's right, was like some murder mystery in there as well. It blew my expectations out of the water. I could not believe how good this was. Same thing. I would not have believed you if you would have said maybe the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie theater was going to be during Bullet Train. No, not a chance. And I think it happened. Like, I'd have to go and look at all the times where I've had these belly laughs and whatnot. But the thing is, I had that belly laugh and I just kept laughing. Anytime I thought about it, I would instantly start crying laughing. It was, oh my god. And it's what I love about it as well as I feel like has that Tarantino-ness, where we always talk about how there's so many film directors and people and writers and TV shows that try and do that very funny comedic moments or situations, but then try to get very serious right away. And we see so many times where they fall on their face, right? We talk about sometimes with the MCU, like, too many jokes there. We talk about that with some other stuff where it's like, you could, bring some levity to this and everything. This is just that perfect balance. If you can have a scene that's so outrageous, so comedic, so out there, but then there's a scene later that's making you feel emotional, you're engaged in the story, there's some sad stuff going on, dramatic stuff, and it was practically flawless. And like I said, maybe I will catch something on a second watch. And I think I'm like Kirklin, where I have like little minor things that are like, I didn't love that, but they're so minor because everything else was so great. Those got lessened and lessened as the movie went on. The whole cast is really good, but yeah, Brad Pitt is an absolute standout. He's phenomenal. I don't know how this movie's gonna do. Our theater was somewhat full, but I just don't know. Like I had said before, like, people are gonna write this off as a streaming movie. And if we're getting to our last like non-spoiler thoughts as far as a recommendation, go see this movie. I can't think of anyone not to recommend it. Even if you don't like love action movies, I feel like there's just like a fun, just enjoyable time factor that you won't get from other movies. As far as, like I said, there's times where it does get dramatic, but it has like a kind of almost, I don't know what the best way to describe it is, but it just has an energy about it that it just feels like it's lightning in a bottle. It's something where there's so much cool stylized scenes, there's so much fun dialogue, multiple times I'm laughing, great performances all around. And I think like maybe you could say it's like maybe a little predictable here and there, but what was not predictable, I think we talked about that with the trailers, where we kind of know how this is going to go. It is the style and little cuts and little character moments. That's the stuff they don't get to show you in trailers, and that's the stuff that was just like a chef's kiss. So yeah, I can't believe how much I really enjoyed this film. I absolutely love Bullet Train. I recommend it. I take it you two would recommend it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this movie's really, really, really high up. This has to be seen in theaters. It's so colorful.
Yep.
Yeah,
Some
it's
good
fun
stuff
action. I remember, just while I was watching it, I feel like this happens. Fortunately, it's been happening so much this year, but while I'm watching it, it's just like, I can't believe the quality of movies this year. Like, this is just insane. Like, happened with Batman, happened with Everything Everywhere All at Once, happened with Top Gun. Like, yeah, I know I'm forgetting some in there, but like, it's just been such a crazy year of very top quality movies.
Oh yeah, there's movies that were in my top 3 that I thought it's gonna definitely stay there. It's so strong, that are gonna be like at the bottom of my top 10, and that who even knows what the rest of the fall's like. Like this is a movie I had no expectations to be anywhere near my top 10. Like, I'm not spoiling my record. I would have been like, oh yeah, this is probably like a fun maybe 7 out of 10 movie. No, it's much higher than that for me. So yeah, we all recommend that. So this is the end of the non-spoilers portion. We hope you enjoyed that. We're going to take a break right now, and then when we're back, we're going to be talking about spoilers. So if you're on the video version, please tune out, come back later. You want to go see this movie, go see it, find a friend. And definitely, it helped that we did have a theater, because that almost makes me want to go see it again, because it was a very enjoyable time. So yes, we'll be right back, and then we'll be into spoilers after this. And we're back. So, oh man, I don't know where to start with this. There's so many angles. I know it's always the joke at the beginning, but I don't know. So Taylor, take us away. What should we talk about first in Bullet Train here?
Oh my god.
I could start us off somewhere, actually. That's completely different from where I normally start. And I want to start with Michael Shannon.
Okay.
The white Russian guy. Because
You forgot he was in here, right?
I completely forgot he was in here. And then the whole movie, I'm like, oh, who's the white Rush, or what's he called? The White Death. Like, what's he going to, or who is this guy going to be? And, like, what's his relation? And then Michael Shannon just has, pardon me, it's just such, like, a certain type of face that's, like, so recognizable. I don't know. Like, now when I see him, I just think of, like, Zod, or... Like, what's his character from Night Before? Mr. Green? Or
Mr. Green.
Yeah, Mr. Green. So fantastic. I love Michael Shannon. But as soon as I saw his face, I got so pumped. And he's not in it a lot, but I really, really liked him in this. He didn't have to be Russian, I don't think, at all. It could have just been Michael Shannon as just Michael Shannon. But alas, I thought... like, the reveal of him was just really funny because, again, for me, I just love Michael Shannon. And then... the duel that he had with I always forget the actor's name.
Scorpion.
yeah, there you go.
That actor's great. I always forget his name too, but he's always delivers in everything he's in. I'll pull it out while you're talking. But
he was in MCU.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Who's he in the MCU?
He fought Ronan, Hawkeye Ronan. Remember?
Right, what a waste.
Yeah, Endgame.
When you say it like that, like fuck.
Might get a spin-off series of him. Who knows?
Yeah, he's also in Logan as well. He's in the Wolverine, the when he goes to Japan as well. So
that's right.
Yeah.
He always fits that like just like wise Japanese samurai type character
that you don't want to fuck with either.
You don't.
You just
Yeah,
know he gets to slice you down in a second
because he's always fucking people up.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like that duel was fantastic, and then like the end. With him and Brad Pitt, and how that IED gun finally went off, and again Brad Pitt was phenomenal in that, but just specifically Michael Shannon, like I completely forgot he was in this, and then when it was revealed, it was absolutely fantastic. The other two that I didn't realize were in it were Sandra Bullock, which she was like in the teaser, and the whole movie's like, oh, who's that voice? And I'm like, it's a recognizable voice. Who is it?
Oh yeah.
And then as soon as she revealed, I'm like, I can't believe they showed us like the last scene of the movie in the teaser.
I knew it was last scene too, because he was all tattered up, and like all the train fucking crashes, doesn't? And that's where I think that could be a disadvantage, because I think lots of people are gonna look at this movie and be like, I've seen this before, you know, and it's just like. You kind of have, but not like exactly this type of, the dialogue, the style, these characters and stuff like that. And that's what they're going to be fighting against. Is I feel, I do now. I've seen the film. I understand it's hard to market what this is, because I don't think it's like Hobbs and Shaw. I don't think it's like John Wick, and I don't think it's like. I guess it would be the closest to a Deadpool 2, like what David Leitch has done before. It kind of has that breakneck style of just like. Funny scene, different type of flashbacks, flash forwards. Like we had a fucking POV of this Fiji bottle, which was like so fantastic because like it rolls to the I'll get the son character name, but at that point I was like, I don't need another one of these scenes right here. I don't know if I'm feeling it. And then they just show this bottle's journey throughout the whole 2-hour movie from its POV. And man, I'm like, no, I needed that absolutely. So it's like I feel like the best moments in this film, unfortunately, other than the action is great. I don't know if they could really market it, So that's what's tough about it.
Yeah. The other one was Zazie Beetz. That was the one I completely forgot about that was in it. And then Ryan Reynolds, that was a surprise. None of us knew that, right? Yeah.
No, I don't think that was known. But what's kind of fun is, David Leitch directed Deadpool 2, and Brad Pitt has just like a small cameo in that. So I like it's almost like returning the favor of like Ryan Reynolds has like a small cameo in that. And that's where I wanted to go to next that Taylor was talking about. Again, what you can't. They show like a little bit of the mystery, right? Because they show Logan Lerman, who's in this, and they show like, his eyes are bleeding, stuff like that. So you get this idea of like, it's maybe they're trying to figure out who killed what and everything. But this idea when they do this kind of the whole reveal, the saw, you had to look for every little thing, the usual suspects as far as we put all these clues here and there, right? And we're jumping to the end, but I think it's to kind of bring up the whole film where We got some characters left with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's gonna, oh my god, I have so much to bring up with Brad Pitt that I love. Like his first time trying to buy some time as the twin, but we'll get to that. The second time when he's trying to buy time with White Death and his whole gang, White Death is giving this monologue, and it's about how all these people are here on this train for this particular reason, and why? Because of fate, and the whole movie's about fate and good luck and bad luck, and being the seven, what was it, the seven solars of bad luck, or what is it?
Sorrows.
Sorrows, yeah, and he's just like has that on his back. Brad Pitt's character, the Ladybug. So, and we'll get into that, but he's explaining this whole thing of there was supposed to be a hit on him, and that hit accidentally took out his wife, and he goes step by step, like all the reasons, like a doctor could have saved her, all these sort of things, and each of these hitmen played a role in that one way or another, even indirectly, like the twins. It's like, oh, they're in Bolivia and they made him have to go, but man, like, so that's all great, that's fantastic, because they show you little things in the film of like, oh, this makes sense, like little dialogue, like it's very, like, it's a very smart, well-woven movie and everything like that, and because it doesn't feel like it's being over the head with that, and it doesn't feel like that in the moment. Just feel like, oh, a bunch of assassins doing their thing. Because I feel like there's some movies that they kind of tip their hat too early, and oh, okay, I figured it out. I know what's going on here, which I didn't. If you did, congratulations. But even just the little stuff, and the cherry on top, one of the funniest things of this movie, and just like, and now there's you, and he's listed off all the other characters, right, of like who's damned and stuff like that. He's talking directly about Brad Pitt's Ladybug, and he's like, and you were the one that took out my wife, Carver, and he's like, Carver, and they show all these flashbacks to this movie started with Carver is just like has a stomach bug, and Brad Pitt's character's filling in for him. So like this whole thing, and about Brad Pitt having bad luck, this whole thing is like designed to kill all these people and him, but he's not the guy, and that happens to him multiple times where he's not the guy people are trying to kill. And man, it was just so well done. But I appreciated that. I already liked just the whole, like, that's what got this film to another level, where even before we got this big, like the big reveals at the end, I was already loving it. The comedy, the action, the character dynamics, and then this just happened on top of them. Like, oh, bravo, you made me fall in love with this film even more. Now I can't wait to watch it again. I already was planning watching again, but it just did such a bang up job. But yeah, Taylor, you mentioned that in non-spoilers review, so now you can talk about any mystery spoilers you want to.
I mean, yeah, you already said it. Just how they wove the story together was perfect. I thought it was fantastic because they had they laid you out certain story components where Brad Pitt was at the wedding of the wolf, and how chaotic that was, and then the fact that he just showed up. I thought, like, oh, is he actually here for Brad Pitt? Because we learned that Brad Pitt is actually, he was there, but that wasn't the reason. Like, it's just all these things overlaying each other, and Brad Pitt just getting the short end of the stick. And it came down to that end scene where Michael Shannon was just walking with the sword in his chest, and he's got the gun, and he can't talk. And Brad Pitt's like, "Oh my god, like."
Dude,
Carver,
give it up.
Yeah, give it up, Carver. Like, he's a bit of a dick. Like, it's so outrageous. Yeah, Brad Pitt, just his expressions, the way he was delivering lines, like when he was in front of the train and Tangerine was just beating the goon to the side of the wall, and he's like, what? And Brad Pitt's like, you shot me twice. And his facial expressions just sell it. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah, it's just like whimsical, like he's in a fucking Disney family movie. Like, he, know what he reminds me? He reminds me of like a fucking imaginary friend sometimes in this movie, in all the best ways. Like, he feels, and he still feels realistic and down to earth enough, because they set up that he is on a mission where he's trying to get some work done, be a better person, less violence and stuff. But he still feels real enough where it doesn't get too over the top, which I appreciate, because he could have went a little more with it and been just kind of just overly comedical. Like, it could have been like a Deadpool. Like, speaking of Deadpool, but the good thing is with Deadpool, I expect that. That's what I want from Deadpool, because it's that character. I was happy he didn't get to that route where he still had human moments, still had human emotions. But even in the middle of stuff, it's just, he has this charm on that Brad Pitt charm. But this is just like an extra layer of it, because it's so just in your face. And like I said, it's something I don't think he's done really in a while, because I know it's funny that Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock's in this movie. They're in Lost City together, but like, that wasn't even that over, like, he didn't have that type of charm. That was like the good looking model Brad Pitt. Like, I can't remember, I guess maybe probably one of the last Ocean's movies as well, but even then he's not that goofy in the Ocean's movie. He's just a charismatic, funny guy. So I feel like he really turned in something, like I said, I haven't seen since Fight Club, or even maybe 12 Monkeys, of being kind of very, very comedic, which I appreciate.
Yeah, he was he was so much more than just being like a kooky character. Like like you said, like he showed those signs of just I mean, like let me rephrase that. I love his just like his whole aura going into this movie where he's just like a guy just trying to be better and like he's like that hippie uncle or something that's just like
Yes.
no man you got to see it this way and like him sticking to that throughout the whole movie was just so fantastic for me. Like it was such a great baseline where there'd be moments where he is showing that he is like a spy, like he's obviously hand-to-hand combat trained, like he's kicking the shit out of people, and then it goes back to that baseline of just like trying to be a zen self, or like there's moments when he's kind of freaking out, like when he spazzes that old lady, like eat a bag of dicks old lady, and then he's like sorry no I'm better than that. Like I just loved how it was someone who obviously has like a difficult past or something, or he's done things that he's regretted, and now he's like trying to get through that and better himself. And it was a very like interesting character to just follow on this journey, and it just helped so much that it was Brad Pitt, because as you like those other movies you listed off, I always see him as just like the super slick handsome guy that's just like you know his character from the Ocean's movie, like that's kind of how I saw him. And so it's funny to see him in this where he's got that charm but he's also just really really kooky, and this movie like he was just such a perfect centerpiece for this movie. Like we'll talk about others, I already brought up Michael Shannon, but like he was just yeah no he was fantastic. There's so many things I want to say of like specific scenes or whatnot that he was just so great in. But like that's why I said in the non-spoiler section, like I just felt like he was just so 10 out of 10 for me that like every time he's on screen before he says something, I'm like already giggling because I'm like this like what's he gonna say here, or like
or just
like
his
maybe
facials. Yeah.
yeah, or if like I knew we're calling back to a joke that happened earlier on in the movie, I was just totally giggling. And whether it was Travis sitting next to me just giggling so much, like I was just in such like a funny mood while watching this movie, because like yeah like you said, like a scene will be going on and then I'm just remembering something that happened earlier on in the movie, and it just gets me. And then Brad Pitt's just facial expressions in the specific scene, it was a combination of a fun time.
Well, speaking of like getting you, and that's why, because anytime Aaron Taylor Johnson came back into frame and he would speak, I would get back to laughing. So like this is a combo of like Brad Pitt, him, and another cameo they have. So Brad Pitt, he's on the run because people kind of figure out like, okay, Aaron Taylor Johnson's figure out I need to get to Brad Pitt's character, and they know he has this hat, the glasses. So Brad Pitt sits down, and there's just a random guy reading a book. The guy puts the book down, Shannon Tatum. He's like, "Hey, can I just give you some money and do something for me?" And then there's like a long pause. Tatum's like, "Oh, is this like a sex thing? Is something you're into?" He's like, "No, not at all." Like, oh, of course. I was just joking around. What do you need me to do? And then they like smash cut. So they've like established that this guy is like horny. He's wanting to fuck some. Like Channing Tatum's playing very like he's like I said, he's very
so good.
He's ready to go. And then so Brad Pitt leaves, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson's walking around. He's all this tough guy, and he sees the bucket hat. And he sees the book, and then he just walks up to Channing Tatum. He's just like, "All right, big boy," and he's like in English, like he's like speaking the blind, like saying all those insults and everything. But when he's just like, "All right, big boy," and he's just saying things like they do this so much time in this movie. It's like what people talk about, like Three's Company or Friends, like some of their strengths where the whole characters have a misunderstanding, and then that misunderstanding leads to another one. It's just this very innocent humor of like, "Oh, I thought you meant this," and like Channing Tatum's like again, he's this character that's set up like, and then after the whole big boy speech, like, "Oh, is this the sex thing you're talking about?" Like, it just fucking got me. Like, it was the delivery of everybody, but it's just the humor I love. And man, that's the moment that's my name. I could not stop laughing. I think for genuinely maybe close to 30 minutes, I was laughing, crying. I would just think about it, and I would just keep laughing and laughing. Like you said, Kirklin, anytime Aaron Taylor Johnson came on screen, I would think about it again. Anytime he talked about, "All right, big boy," like it would just jump in my mind of when he said "big boy," and I couldn't stop, and it was so damn good. And then right after you get like a big action scene and stuff like that, but oh man, big boy, that's gonna be like I couldn't put it in best Golden Geeks, but for me, I'm always gonna remember that in the theater because it was just So damn good. That whole
Oh,
segment.
it was fantastic. Like when Brad Pitt first sits down with Channing Tatum, and he's just like being strange, like he has this sex thing, like super serious, like that got me. And then when it came back to him, and it like you don't even see his Channing Tatum, but you're just putting the pieces together of like who this character is, and then like the first thing he says to him is like, "Hey, big boy." It lost me. I was laughing so hard. I don't even remember what they said after that. Like it was just so funny, and then he just gets all aggressive. I was like, "Is this a sex thing?" And I was telling Shay like afterwards, like I felt like the usage of Channing Tatum, like I would have wanted more maybe, but like also maybe not, because I think like the like the small amount of the movie that he's actually in, like it just made it so gold.
Yeah.
Like those particular moments, and then
He's such a
and
good
like
walk.
the the cherry on top is when we see him again, like
Yeah.
later on, and he's still that character. God, he was so funny. And shout out to Channing Tatum, because just like the way that he like sold that scene of like being really like into it, you know?
Yeah.
Like he was great.
And that's where, yeah, this movie constantly will make a joke and then refer back to it 10, 50 minutes later, and it's either just as funny or even funnier. And oh my God, it's just fantastic. And Aaron Taylor Johnson too. Like, this is where I have such a like interesting perspective of this guy, because to me, you have things like Age of Ultron or Godzilla, where it's just like, I feel like he just doesn't show up. He's just not there. He's just like a bland guy who's just the main lead or a lead, right? It's super odd, but then there's stuff like this, and even Tenet a little bit, but then there's stuff, I guess Kick-Ass he was leading, but then there's other, there's Savages. There's another one I'm thinking of too. I'll pull up his IMDb, but always when he's like in these side supporting roles or not the main character, he just can, there is something special. And it's interesting because people said that Sony, the reason they cast him as Craven, because they saw Bullet Train, they're like, oh, like he's great in this. Now I think the unfortunate thing is Craven's not going to be this type of character. Like, I don't know why they did that. I think they just, oh, we like Aaron Taylor Johnson, so let's put him in a franchise. But like, he gets so much personality in this movie, and it's just every character too, like it operates in this thing of shades of gray, right? Where technically all these people are bad people, but between him and the twins, like they set him up as really bad individuals that are bad at killing people. They will sacrifice innocent people if need to, but the moments when they both, one thinks they lose the other and one does lose the other, you feel for them in this moment, even though these are probably pieces of shit that should be in prison, should be in jail. And that's the best thing of like, you have to, in a film like this, when you're dealing with like criminal type characters, unless you're having like just a big yucks, which it was, but if you want the emotional moments that fit, you have to do that. He did that well. Like, they all did that well, but Aaron Taylor Johnson was a huge standout, and I'd heard these rumors like, oh yeah, he's a huge standout on the movie. I thought, like I said, I've heard that before, and then I watch a movie, it's like he's fine. There's like, but then there's times where he just turns it on, he's great, and I think it's these side ones, and he did a fantastic job. Everyone did, but that would be like the next one I showed after Pitt of like, I really liked his character, I loved the look of his character, how he sounded, everything like that, and again, tons of good comedic moments with every character and good great moments. So yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson knocked out of the park for me. I probably will be fighting for him when we get to Golden Geeks for supporting, because yeah, I really liked what he brought to the table here.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson. There's never anything bad for me that he's in that I don't like. Like whenever he comes up on screen, it's always an absolute delight, absolutely fantastic. And this is definitely an excellent performance. He was just great. I loved his dynamic with the trains and with Tangerine. It was just freaking hilarious. That whole scene again with his chemistry with Brad Pitt was great when they were standing. I'm not sure if you guys mentioned already because I had to go deal with a cat. But when he was with Brad Pitt on the what would you call that? Like the wait area for the train, I guess. There's a term for it. They were standing out. Yeah, just the terminal. They're standing out there and like they're just talking, and like the one Russian guy's like, "Oh, you do look like twins."
That moment, fuck.
Oh,
It got me so good because then Brad Pitt just tries to sell it. It's like, yeah, you think we're gonna like
Don't want to be greedy now.
and it
He
opens
spins
it up.
it. Oh man.
And just like, and for people, if they're not, it's because I know some people don't watch one. The idea is Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brad Pitt have this briefcase. They don't have the real briefcase, so they just want to buy some time. The Red Death Squad is like, we want to meet with you before. And Brad Pitt, because he has a twin brother, but the joke is it's played by Brian Tyree Henry, who also is great at this as well, like so good. But he is down and out right now, so it's like, well, I'm gonna you don't know what the twin looks like. They go on the waiting for the train, the terminal, and they're like, did you look inside? And Aaron Taylor Johnson's like, no, I didn't even ask for the passcode. I don't want anybody to see what's there. And the Brad Pitt goes, yeah, in his like thickest, fakest British accent. Don't want to be greedy now. Like he sounds like he's from Pirates of the Caribbean. Like he's on one of the ships, and he throws out the briefcase. And for some reason, this character decides, I'm just gonna spin. I'm gonna spin the fucking passwords, and it just perfectly aligns with the actual code. And then and who even knows what was in this briefcase? Just underwear, just bras and underwear fall out, and they're like, oh shit, and they run back on the train. It goes away. But oh my god, that was another one of those like. I'm gonna remember that moment forever. Like it was just so well timed, the place, and I almost thought we were gonna get this long extended scene, but it's really not because every time they get in the terminal, they only have a minute. But damn, that just got me so good. And another one, that's where you'll be lucky for me if like even in great comedies, if like you can laugh and be fine the whole time, but if you can have multiple moments, it reminds me like the first time I saw The Hangover in theaters, like multiple moments that you'll remember and you just kept laughing and laughing. That's what happened in this movie. So like every half an hour there'd be something where it's like, oh my god, like I thought that was gonna be the best joke, and now this is that. Oh, don't want to be greedy now.
Yeah, that was so fantastic. I like didn't even understand what he said. It was just so like quick and like not expecting anything that to happen. And then his accent. Never heard Brad Pitt make a voice like that before. And sure enough, he's just the unluckiest guy ever. Just like spins the code, it opens up, and then like the afterwards when they're like debriefing, he's like, why even do that? He's like, I'm just trying to sell it. Like,
I'm sorry,
but there's nothing for you to sell. Like it was done. And he's just like, I was just trying. Yeah, like he was just, God, Brad Pitt. He just, and again, like every time that he would fuck up or something, like he just seemed like such a goofball. But then there was moments when he's like actually kicking ass. So it was just such a mixed bag of what that character was, and Brad Pitt was just so perfect for the role.
Well, and that's a good thing, like with the wolf setup, and because there's two other scenes I have to show with Brad Pitt, and this is one of them, because it's like he is an ass hero who could probably kill or take out a lot of these people, but he's like on recluse. He's trying not to do that, right? So it's like this is him kind of almost like tempered a little bit. Like it's him like trying his best. And again, the wolf, this is where it reminds me of Seven Psychopaths, where they'll just take little segments that explain who a character is. You see Bad Bunny, that's the guy who's playing El Muerto. If you guys didn't remember that movie being made, that's the guy. And, they'll probably actually make their superhero film and release it, unlike some other companies. But anyway, so Bad Bunny's playing the wolf. And they just show him as, he's fighting Brad Pitt. You're like, wondering what's happening. That you go on another journey for like 10 minutes, and then you come back to that later on. You get his whole origin. Again, this was like, and this felt also Tarantino as well, like the way Tarantino would give like little mini origins to characters that make you care about them. Because when I've seen them, I was like, oh, I don't want them to kill the wolf, but I know it's going to happen because I feel like he's not going to be around too much. But they give him this origin of like he is a criminal that risen through the ranks, and there was like no controversy. Like he found a group of people, he was loyal to them. He's rich, he's living the lifestyle, finds a wife, and then what happens when they go to this wedding, and we taught this Brad Pitt's there just to get intel. He's the one that accidentally bumps into the wolf and like gets white or red wine on his tuxedo. But again, that's like, if you look, that's the whole point of the movie, the back and forth where the bad luck's the good luck. The wolf changed it, but like him bumping into the wolf made it so the wolf didn't drink any of this wine that was poisoned by people. So if the wolf would have continued to live, Brad Pitt would have saved his life, but no, he didn't. So that's why there's tons of things where technically, Brad Pitt's character looks at them as bad luck, but really some of them are actually good luck, and in this situation, that's where it's like, that was so badass where they give the wolf this origin, and now when you know why, when you see him in this outfit, the blood, the wine, he's still wearing the same outfit he did from his wedding night, and I love that whole sequence of fight and everything, but just the fucking way he died when the knife accidentally goes into him, and then this was to me was like the first oh shit moment of the movie, and I was glad there's more of it, but this is like, okay, this is maybe going to be even better than I thought, because he hits him with a knife and he's bleeding. It's like, okay, I can kind of expect that. But then when he trips and there's a briefcase that Brad Pitt's trying to get, and he just fucking breaks his neck on the briefcase, and Brad Pitt's just like, oh man, like it just keeps happening to me. Oh my God. So everything about the White Wolf segment, that was like 10 out of 10 cinema right there. Fucking loved everything.
I think that's like the first moment that got you like really, really laughing too, was with the White Wolf's wedding. Because this was early on, and he gets the spilled drink on his shirt, and he goes off, and then you just hear like commotion, or you're trying to think like what's going on. He comes back and everyone's bleeding from their eyes and just puking blood, and I looked over and you're just started laughing
Because when
It's
he
like this
walked
poor
away, I
guy.
knew, yeah, it was because that's what set in with me after it was with the wife, but it just set in like, man, he's gonna lose everybody, and that's great about the film is eventually it does set in. You're like, fuck, he did lose everybody. In that moment, you're like, oh my god, no, this is what they're gonna do to this guy. Oh,
Yeah, that was as soon as he walked away. I mean, like his whole like flashback segment, it was just wild. Like it's just this cartel like killer just going around killing people, and I was just like, oh, what are we doing here? And then he'd keep going like him and this girl, they're just like macking. And then I was just like, okay, like what's going on here? And then we just immediately got to the wedding. I just feel like that like throwback sequence, it was just like, what, like this is kind of ridiculous right now for me personally. Like it was just kind of a lot of wackiness. And then what finished, it yeah, I never could have guessed it, but as soon as he like walks away, I think it was also just like the over the topness of like, oh, of course, like he just spills wine on his suit and then he has
Yeah.
to leave like the party. It was just like, okay, I roll here, and then the next thing you see is just blood coming out of everyone's eyes. Like not one person spared here, just puking blood over, like everyone's puking over everyone else. It was just so ridiculous. And yeah, and then I had Travis next to me that was just giggling like a little schoolgirl. That was definitely the cherry on top.
my god, it was so good. And then the other specific thing I gotta shout because I don't want to forget it is because they keep doing these title cards for characters, right? The son, the father, stuff like that. And one of my favorites was the elder. Now this is like a great example of how it switches to comedic to serious, because all the elder's origin I really liked. It got me in the mood. I was like, yeah, I want to see the elder fuck up White Death. But this whole, we were talking about the luck thing where he's explaining, Brad Pitt says like, oh, my name's Ladybug, and that's just what my handler calls me. And he said, oh, that's funny that, Ladybug in America, it means luck, but for us, it means it's the barrow of all the sorrows of bad luck. And he puts that on, Ladybug puts that on them himself or their self to kind of make everyone's life better. And one, I like that Brad Pitt, yeah, that's awful. Like, I don't want any of that. But just he's like, I'm going to tell you a story. It's like, no, I don't need to hear the story. I think you want to hear it. No, I'm actually good. Oh, I think I should. That whole segment. And then it would just end with the elder being like, all right, here we go. And then he just goes right into the story. Just that 30 seconds of back and forth of Brad Pitt trying to talk about like, please, I do not care about this story. But then at the end, it's because it is just like, okay, I thought, oh, it's just going to be about the origin story of this character. And there's probably going to tie to White Death. But when they tied it together with Brad Pitt's sort of bad luck versus luck scenario, that's what really worked me about. It's about fate, right? And the whole what ifs. And that worked as far as you're here and I'm here, particularly for a reason. If you might want to think it's bad luck, but I think it's fate. And that's why I like that at first. It's like, oh, we got to tell the origin, but they tied it all together. So again, a combination of great comedy, but great character moments, great development going on, setting you up. And yeah, I loved, we already talked about the guy that plays the elder, but I just particularly loved that segment of just, and I think too, what I liked about him in this movie is he got to be also like the guy that plays the elder, a bit more charming and friendly. There was moments where he was like very warm hearted, but I feel like we always bump into him where he's just like a cold, we see that in Mortal Kombat like a little bit, but it's more just him sad. Like this, we got to see him like crack up a couple jokes and smile and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I want to see you more stuff than just like, dying in the end game scene with Hawkeye. But yeah, loved that segment as well.
Yeah, we saw like him just kicking ass, like that extended sequence of him like with his katana just slicing people up. That was nice and fun to watch. Just very quickly before I forget the scene too, like the title card thing when we get the ladybug and Brad Pitt's just like on the phone, just being his kooky ladybug self in this. It's just going over like his marks that he's done, and like the first one was like that politician. He's just like railing that chick. She's like, I voted for you.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then the second one too of like the dude that fell in the car, and he's just like wheezing for help, and Sandra Bullock on the phone, just like he didn't even die.
And then they just what broke me is they smash cut to Brad Pitt flooring it, saying, "Hold on, buddy," and like, like he's dead serious about trying to save this guy's life. And again, that's where I was like, okay, that got a good laugh. I mean, I wasn't sure if the whole movie was gonna be like that, but yeah, just this guy tries to kill him. And same thing about the bad luck, good luck. He looks at us like, yeah, this guy fucked up my car, ruined a mission, but no, you saved the guy's life technically because you
Yeah.
got him. And just, it's this guy who tried to commit suicide. He landed on the car, his head's like stuck in the window, and just Brad Pitt yelling at the top of his lungs while this car's going, hold on, buddy. Oh my fucking God. I can't wait till that becomes a GIF. And again, that's just pure Pitt selling that. That is Pitt
Oh
just
yeah.
ultimately, like, his facials, everything is just so damn good. Like, I know it's not gonna happen, but this is like reminds me of the first time I saw Pirates of the Caribbean, and obviously I got that and maybe it was a bad wish, but I could just see Brett. I would watch so many, the way Knives Out is doing, like, oh, Daniel Craig on different adventures with different casts. I would take that with Brad Pitt every few years. You know, like him playing this character, dealing with a bunch of different scenarios. I can't wait to watch this again just to soak up more of this character. 'Cause I just want to see this character in situations. But fuck, that was so good. I'm glad you remind me of the car one. There's stuff. There's so many good things. I'm forgetting good stuff. You know.
When
100%.
Brad Pitt was facing off against the, I'm just gonna call her the Poisoner. I don't remember her initial name. The Zazie Beetz, basically.
Hornet.
The Hornet.
The Hornet. Thank you. So
It's the Hornet bitch.
when they were fighting, and he was just they both got jabbed. I love that his quick reaction was just like jab her too. That was
Yeah.
perfect. And they're just standing there and waiting. And when she goes to pull it out, he just jabs himself with it, and then she starts to die. It's like, oh shit, you don't have a backup? Like,
You know I
can
don't,
hold-
bitch.
Can I hold your hand? Can I get water, a blanket? Like, just he just feels so bad about doing that, but he thought she had a backup. Fuck.
Oh yeah, and that was a shocking moment. Of they set up this whole thing like if you get an inch of this poison, you're gonna die. And when that fell in his hand, I was like, "Fuck!" Like what's gonna happen? And then he just quickly got her with it too. And even like I didn't put together just like how much. He's like, "How long do you have?" In 30 seconds, stuff like that. I didn't even put together that he was like setting her up to pull it out. And that was such a clever moment. She goes to pull it, use it on herself, but he catches like Taylor said, her hand uses it, and yeah, she doesn't have any more. And that was a nice little cameo from Zazie Beetz there. I forgot she was in the film as well until the Discord told me a few days ago. She's in the film for about 5 minutes. That's about it. But what I loved about the Hornets, I don't know if they did this on purpose. Did you, Taylor, recognize who the kind of waiter or waitress was carrying the food back and forth?
From The Boys.
Yeah, Kamiko.
Yeah, what was her name? Karen Fukuhara. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's also Katana in Suicide Squad too. Don't forget
Yeah,
about that.
that completely went over my head. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
But what's funny about that is, and that's where I love it, I don't know if they did this on purpose because I don't know why she's there, if it's just like that's how she was legitimately cast. She's a better actress than this. That's why I think it was just, oh, she's a friend with somebody, or it was on purpose because I thought she was going to be the Hornet because I'm like, you're putting an actress in front of me that I fucking know that's a part of a very popular TV show. That's going to be somebody. And she never was. The Hornet just fucking knocked her out. But, like, that's what I love the whole time. Like, oh, I figured this out. It's going to be Cary Fukuhara. That's who's going to be the Hornet. And I was happy with that. But, like, oh, this makes sense. She's the one that has the food, too. She's going around and everything like that. She's been in a bunch of scenes. So the whole time, I'm like, oh, I got it figured out. And it wasn't her. It was the Hornet hiding in. And it made so much sense, too. Because at first, when they did the whole bit of the Hornet hiding in, like, that big panda toy outfit thing, and they do that moment with her trying to grab the case. At first, that was a joke that didn't really land with me because, like, this just feels like a bit too, like, unworldly. You know, it just doesn't work for me. But then later on, when you retroactively go, oh, that was her just fucking around with him and stuff like that and wanting the briefcase because she says, like, all the directive is my money's in the briefcase. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of things that make sense later on, and he was a fun character and a fun little segment of the poison because it made you gasp too. And even this, they tie it later again to the snake because when he got bit too, same thing. Like, fuck, is he gonna die? But I'm like, right, I forgot he has this anti venom, which I'm not sure if that if that works fully. Like maybe it does if it stays.
I
in
thought
your
he was gonna
system.
die there. I thought he was 100%
Yeah.
gonna die in that scene because it's like, oh wow, this is like he's not safe in this moment. But yeah, when he drops the line, he's like, you're never gonna believe this, but like I already got my dose of anti-venom today. Like,
Yeah.
and that was again like I just couldn't help but laugh because it's like, of course, this super unlucky guy just has all the answers.
I really thought they were saving the snake for Joey King's character, actually.
I did think so too. Yeah.
Me too.
Let's take our second ad break and we'll continue about Bullet Train. So we'll be right back. And we're back. And so you brought up one thing there too, and I'll bring up that. As far as my few cons of the movie, I only have two, and again, they don't really affect the score that much. But one was I almost didn't like how dramatic the the train crash was at the end. That's where I thought we got a bit too over the top of like Brad Pitt was flying. I like they landed on the thing, but just like it goes off a fucking hill. It's going everywhere. It goes in the houses. I think honestly that could have still been smaller, and I would have been fine with like a smaller train crash. I know it was going really fast, so that was like a minor one. But the other one, I like that they tied it together with like the little medcret thing, but I didn't like the ending of Joey King's character just because it felt like Scary Movie to me of like how Cindy would always get hit with the car, and that's the only thing where there's so much times in this movie where things weren't predictable. That was the way they framed the shot of her just standing in the middle of the road, and they did that wide shot of like you need to see a vehicle, and even then I just wish that. Because that was the whole point of the film, that they forgave one another. Lots of guys like, you shot my brother, I shot you shot me 2 times. So I thought with the White Death being dead, there was going to be kind of some forgiveness there. So I felt that was just a little, like, for the film being so smart and clever, that was one thing where, because it stood out so much of like, you didn't have anything better for this character. That felt like the lowest, like, bottom thing. And again, it's not a big thing, but because that and the train were more near the end, they kind of went together. So later on they show that Lemon was the one that hit her, so it made it like a little bit better for me.
Oh, sorry, it was Lemon, right?
No, yeah, Lemon,
Tangerine was Aaron Taylor Johnson's character.
Yeah, the reason it screwed me up is because like when they showed Lemon and Tangerine, Aaron was there and Tangerine was there, and like Lemon, the word looked closer to Aaron, and then Tangerine looked closer to him, so I thought that's who they were, but no, it was not that. But so they made it a little bit better that he was the one that ran her over, but I still like wasn't in love with that, and that's honestly my only cons as far as things go for this movie. But yeah, those things didn't work for me necessarily.
Speaking of upon that like over the topness, I feel like it really didn't bother me because up until this point there was already so many moments of that happening, whether it's the luck stuff, but also just like the awesome fight scene between gosh, I forget his we were just talking about him, Lemon.
Tangerine.
I just see him as Paperboy from Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
But his character fighting Brad Pitt in like the quiet cart, and it was
true.
so funny.
Yeah, that's
was so funny because they're just beating the shit out of each other, and there's constantly these moments of like shh. But like even without that, like you can see people like in the background just like on their laptops or whatever, like they're just being quiet. Meanwhile, there's just like to the death battle going on. I loved it, and then like even just at other points, whether they're killing people and or they're fighting, and like no one even really talks about it. I feel like that was just a really fun thing that happened throughout the movie that maybe if it happened like once or twice I would have been a little bit bothered by it because it would have seemed like they're just hoping the viewer would have caught it, or maybe they like missed it, but it was intentional, like it's clearly like no, this is the way the movie is, and for me it really worked. Like I just totally leaned into it. I feel like it was funny too because Shay and I, we were driving home, Shay was like asking like who made that movie. Like it just felt very much like an anime, like just over the topness, and I think that fit too, that they're just like in Japan, they had like all like the animated character like costumes on the cart, and like all of that stuff just really played into. I don't know if they did that intentionally or if it was just me like reading into it of just like
no, I think
suspend your disbelief because it's just so crazy.
That's fair, yeah. And no, I think David Leitch is a big fan of that. He was previously a stunt coordinator on The Matrix. That's how he started in Hollywood. He was a stunt guy, and that's how he worked with Keanu. And I'm pretty sure he's still attached to. He's supposed to be directing Ghost of Tsushima for Sony as well. So, and I hope he
saw a lot of that in this.
Yes, and I hope he brings the Elder. I hope he brings him in the actual movie. And honestly, that guy, I want, because I've never. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to find Andrew Kojo. He was Kamara. He was the what would they call him, the father. I'm just looking. I've seen him in anything else. Oh, even when you go to IMDb, it's just known for F6 HK Police. That's all he's known for. But like, man,
which
like
character is this?
The father, like our kind of the character we opened up with that had the son. He was the Elder's son.
Oh yeah, he was also in Snake Eyes. He played Storm Shadow.
Did
really
he?
Yeah.
That makes sense as far as like I didn't see the movie, but just if they're casting stuff, man, you know what, Kirklin, I'd be down if this guy would play Jin in the Ghost of Tsushima movie, because he was he's one of those guys. The same thing when we saw whatever that foreign actor name is in Northman. He's played the Uncle Villain. I was like, I want to see this guy in a bunch more stuff. This guy, I'd never seen him. Now I guess I have seen him him a few times, but really anything of note for me, I was like, I want to see this guy in a bunch of stuff, because at one point I was like, man, if this film sucks, I'm gonna wish we just followed his character, because the opening of this film was him and the Elder, and I was like, I was all into that. I'm like, I could just watch this movie too, you know. So and that was not the problem, but the good thing that they had like many things going on in a movie where it's like I would watch again. It reminds me of a lot of Tarantino, the same way where Tarantino at one point was like, yeah, I'm gonna do like a Vegas or a Vega twins movies about the brothers. Like I could have watched a movie about the twins. I could have watched a movie about the elder and the son and the grandson. I could watch another Brad Pitt movie. Like they just created this fun little world in this train that I'm even White Death, all that stuff. Like he was a fun, imposing villain for all he was in there. But this guy, Andrew Koji, I hope to see him in more stuff down the line, because damn, he was good for a guy I've never seen before. Really, really liked him. Now I might have to watch Snake Eyes now just to see more. And he was in Warrior. Oh, was he the main guy in Warrior? Because I heard a lot of good things about the AMC show Warrior. He's in Peaky Blinders too, apparently.
He is
Kirkland.
in Peaky Blinders, yeah. Which season, Kirkland?
What is he?
Nah,
Okay.
he just
Minor
season 2
character.
episodes as Brilliant Chang.
Okay, yeah, forgot him.
That's okay. Well, on After
what was
9
the
we
one
have
that
a
you
lot to
listed
bring
before
up.
that? Warrior.
Warrior, yeah.
It's a TV series, right? I remember
Yeah.
my dad was telling me to get on that. I'm like, dude, I got so many things to catch up for podcasts, but nonetheless, like he loves that series, and
Yeah.
is he the lead?
He's co-lead. It's like a two-hander.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, but yeah, I heard good things as well. I think I got canceled because just I don't know if it had the backing, or I don't know if
Yeah.
people like us, we didn't tune into it and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely tune in After 9, because me and Ted have some questions about Kirkland and Peaky Blinders after the Better Halves episode. But
I got answers.
yeah, we all got answers.
I
We're
listened
all
to it
saying we
too.
got
Yeah,
answers.
I did my
Yeah, yeah.
homework.
Oh yeah, I got
Um,
answers. But yeah,
Before I forget, you mentioned Andrew Koji. The Great Jin. I feel like my fan cast would have been like Hiroyuki, like the elder, just younger as Jin. He would've been
100%. Yes, no,
fantastic,
and that's why he
but-
should play the Twisted Uncle. That's who he should play.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
General whatever his name is. But
Yeah,
alas,
that's his name. Yeah.
Andrew Koji. It's funny, Travis. You told me that he just or you just started Squid Game, because he really just made me think of that character that's shown at like the first episode of Squid
Oh,
Game.
like the
of
main
just,
character. Yeah.
of like the father that's just he's kind of I mean, that one's more of a piece of shit, at least the way he's introduced, and then this one he's just, I don't know, they don't really explain like where he was. It was just like, you're a bad son, like you didn't even, or a bad son, you're a bad son, you're a bad father, like you
A
didn't
father's
even know
supposed to
your
protect
son.
his son. Yeah.
Yeah, your son wasn't even, or God, that's hard, easy for me to recap. You didn't even know your son was gone for 3 hours, and they don't really even touch upon like what he was doing or anything like that. Like it's just,
I think
It's
just
just-
crime stuff. And I
Yeah.
think they kind of insinuated maybe some drug usage as well, I feel like a little bit.
he was a little sweaty when they first see him, but
Yeah, and I felt like he had something. Either way, he was just he's doing bad jobs, right? And
Yeah.
stuff like that, you know.
so I don't know. I feel like this character unfortunately might be like my least favorite out of everyone,
Oh.
just because we didn't really get much with him, like unless it was him and Joey King, or him and the Elder. And I feel like with the Elder, like I really liked his side of the story,
Mhm.
like so much more than it. And he just seemed like that guy that was kind of like a prisoner of the Prince, Joey King's character. And I don't know, like there was just other people that shine so much more than him. But like that's not saying anything about the actor by any means. Like I think he did okay with like what he was given, but just what he was given didn't really work for me at all. I was just waiting for more, I think, because like he starts us off on this journey. Like we meet him before even the Bullet Train like title reveal. So I'm like, okay, I'm expecting like a lot of good story stuff with him, and it was just his son's in peril, and then at the end of the day, like his dad ended up saving like him again, and like he
did
kind of
save his
had that.
dad, though.
Yeah, exactly.
He
He did
did
that
save his dad,
redemption
yeah,
moment at the
Fujimoto.
end, and then they like kind of head to head, like a father protects his family, and like that was a nice touching moment. But I don't know. I was wanting a little bit more. Maybe not expecting a little bit more. I was just wanting a little bit more. But alas.
That's fair. Taylor, where do you want to go next? Who do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Logan Lerman, Percy Jackson himself. He
Not
was
anymore.
No, not anymore. He was the son, basically, of the White Death, and
I saw an interview with him today. It was like someone asked him about like the new Percy Jackson series, and I'm like, oh, that guy's in Bullet Train. I'm so excited to like see him in Bullet Train, and then his character. Yeah, I'm like,
Oh, did you forget about that from the trailer? They show him
That's
dead
it?
in the trailer.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't- I
That's
don't
so
remember that from
funny.
the
Oh
trailer,
yeah, no, they
which is
have the
good.
shot where he looks over it and his eyes are bled and everything like that. Yeah.
His character was just bonkers. I like the dynamic that we had with him and with like Tangerine and Lemon, but the scene much further on down the road where Michael Shannon's character was talking with Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's like, "So you planned the whole thing? Like you had your son killed?" And I can't remember what Michael Shannon said, but like, yeah, he was a piece of shit or something like that.
The way he
Just-
said it too. Yeah,
just the way he said it.
It got me going.
Yeah. Oh, there was another thing too with it. It was a crazy scene. Like it makes sense now in retrospect why Prince like spat on him basically, because obviously they're siblings. But
In the moment, you're like, "What the fuck?"
yeah. Like what is the significance of this? But I was wondering too if Joey King kind of like knew of this plan of her father to bring everyone in here like this, because she seemed pretty like expectant, like, oh yeah, another dead body. This is all kind of part of how it's supposed to go.
She also grew up with the White Death, right? Because I don't think that was the plan. Because she would have, she was not. I don't think she was included on any of that. Because she sounded like she just had so much planning on her own going on. You know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Taylor, I feel like you really like this Logan Lerman movie.
Oh
Fuck, I
yeah,
haven't seen
you
that in
must
a
love
long
that.
time.
You
I'm
have,
more
it's
of
Three
a fan of the
Musketeers for
Charlie.
listeners.
I'm a fan of the Charlie Sheen one. That
Three
Musketeer one.
Musketeers? I didn't
Yeah.
know they had another one. Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like I
there's a
have seen
lot.
that movie actually a long time ago.
There's like the Pinocchio stuff like that. There's a lot of Three Musketeers and stuff like that. And isn't Orlando Bloom the villain in that Three Musketeers movie as well?
In that one with Logan Lerman, I believe he is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm surprised you weren't as high as I was with Kirklin. I thought it was gonna be like a huge, like, oh my god, I loved it. The
Yeah.
best
No, the Charlie Sheen
cinematic
one does it
adventure.
for me.
Okay. I pulled the wrong one.
Yeah, you pulled the wrong one. Kirklin, who do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add on that character. I think the funniest thing around him was definitely like with the glasses and when they do that first check stop. I like how they have to keep doing these check stops like the twins. Like you have to walk outside with the the suitcase in hand, and then we have to see the sun, and then like the sun's waving and everything. Remind me of Weekend at Bernie's vibes, but. Yeah, and then just the White Death's reaction, just like, of course I did. He's a piece of shit. Like, just totally shitting on his son when like it's set up the twins had to like go out of their way to save him, like like to help. But it's just, it was the mom that cared about him, not the father. So that was funny. And his what did he say, or what does the his tattoo say? It's like trust no bitch. Like that got to me when we do a little zoom in on that. But the next character, maybe Joey King. So we kind of touched upon her a little bit, but I quite liked her performance actually. I was joking with Shay because Shay really likes Joey King. She's only I feel like she's only really seen her in like those Netflix original movies, and Shay absolutely loves those Netflix
right, I forgot
movies.
about those.
So like
Yeah.
Kissing Booth, I think there's like 2 or 3 of those. They're really bad, but Shay loves them.
Did you ask
Guilty
her if she's
pleasure
a big
movie.
Dark Knight Rises fan?
No, what's the significance
Okay.
of that? Is Joey King in it or something?
Yeah, she plays young Talia al Ghul. Next time you watch it, she plays the kid version when they flash back and Bane saves the kid. She's Talia.
To this day, I think I've only seen that movie once, and it was on TV, so there's commercials and stuff. So I haven't had like a proper sit down of that movie.
Oof, it's needed.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But here we are. But no, I quite liked her performance. Like I thought like all of her line deliveries were really good. Like she was actually semi-intimidating at moments, but also like anytime that she was trembling or like she was just really good at selling like what she had to. So and like that was a character I remember seeing in the trailers. She was shown a lot, so I was expecting this weird, interesting twist. My initial thoughts, because the father gets on the train and he's hunting down someone, and then it's like, oh, he was actually like looking for this character. I thought she was just White Death, and it's like, oh, okay, that's the twist. Is everybody's looking for this one character? It's just this little girl. But I really liked how it did have that twist, and I liked how, yeah, like when it's revealed that her father is the White Death. Like you don't even know that till Michael Shannon delivers the line, and I don't know if you guys caught on to that, but I definitely didn't. So that was a nice little surprise there.
I didn't catch it until they saw each other, because the way Shannon acted with his face, I'm like, okay, that's his kid now. But I didn't know that beforehand, like leading up to it or anything like that. And I think that's kind of fun too, where you have the elder and the son working together, where they same situations going on, but the exact opposite, where you have a father and daughter on the train. And it's so funny where, from her perspective too, and that's why I don't think she knows anything's going on, is because she just is like, well, why are you always looking after, whatever the brother's name was, Logan Lerman, I can't remember what his name was, but you're always looking after him, and I'm more like you and stuff. And really, like, wasn't trying to save the kid. He was trying to have him killed. He was trying to bring him back to, like, end. But from her perspective, and I think that's the thing too. It's like he's been more attentive to the boy because the boy is not living up to the standards of the family and needs help, where he kind of feels like the daughter can fend for herself. But at the same time, that bit him in the ass, because that's what killed him, right? He had that gun and he went to shoot Brad Pitt, and it was over for him. But yeah, I really like Joey King. Joey King's somebody that is surprised me more and more. That I remember she was in Rises, but every time I've seen her, I've liked her enough. But I feel like it's just been these past 2 years where I've seen her and stuff where it's fine. Like, okay, she's really coming into her own as an actress. Where before I felt like, okay, she's just like a child star. But yeah, she's good. I'm excited to see what else she can do in the future. So.
I just want to show it to it was more so with Brad Pitt, but the actor's name is Masaoka. And
yes, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, the conductor, I guess, the ticket chap. I never watched a lot of Heroes back in the day. I watched a little bit, but like I know him more from like Get Smart, and he was in the Meg as well. But yeah, he was just really funny. There's only like 3 scenes, but just that final scene of Brad Pitt just like fucking, what does he call him? Like fucking, not Houdini.
Chris Angel.
Yeah,
that
Chris
popped me big time, because I fucking love Chris Angel from a magic standpoint, but from a mean standpoint too, because you had to live in that era of just Chris Angel, just like that era of Chris Angel. It's just like he was the bee's knees, but he was also really cringe at the same time and everything. And yeah, that moment, like it was like the 3rd time he saw him, and the guy's just like points at him, and he's like, "Oh no!" and he bows, gonna go off. He's like, "Fuck!" Like that running joke. I could almost used it one more time, but I was happy they kept going back to it.
Yeah, he was great. I love his usage in the film. I feel like, yeah, he was in the trailer probably, but I knew he was in the movie because I saw like a tweet of something with him and Brad Pitt. So I'm like, okay, I'm waiting out for this guy, and yeah, I wasn't disappointed with his usage. He was great. And yeah, I agree. I probably could have used a little bit more of him, but what I got was good. So.
Yeah. And what I got a lot of, but I still ended up liking, I was worried the joke of Thomas the Tank Engine was not going to work, but it all worked out for me. At first, when they were doing it a few times, like, and then, because then every time a character would be like, oh, like the show, and they'd kind of give that rigmarole, and I thought, could this wear a little too thin on me? But 1, it didn't, and 2, they had it like go full forward, like you're a Dudley, and it puts like goes to shoot with the gun, like Diesel, thank you, because I'm not a big fan. Emily, that's what Cars was my thing. The kids aren't allowed to watch. Thomas was Emily's thing because she hates Thomas, hates that fucking show.
She hates Thomas.
I don't think she's wrong.
Fucking great.
I don't think she's wrong. There's something obnoxious about that show, but I liked all the stuff in here with using that, and yeah, like I said, I was worried, but it ended up working for me. So, is there any?
Yeah.
So we talked about the. Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'll talk about the Thomas Tank Engine joke. Yeah, I feel like majority of it didn't really hit with me, honestly. And talked about the twins kind of individually, but like, so we get that opening sequence, and then I think the first person other than Brad Pitt is those two, and we have like a decent dialogue like back and forth with them. And then I think we jump back to Brad Pitt, and then we go back to them again, and it was like another extended dialogue, and I was a little bit, I don't know, not sold on the movie maybe at that point. Like I think like it started hot, like as we were talking about the dude falling on Brad Pitt's car, and like I was chuckling. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great time. And then we got to those two dialoguing, and I don't know, it was just for whatever reason it wasn't really hitting with me. And I'm like, oh god, I hope the whole movie's not just like more of this. But as we got into like the more ridiculous things, I was completely turned around. And luckily, as the movie went on, I really liked the two of them, like on their own. I think I was worried also. I'm like, oh no, like Aaron Taylor Johnson is just, I'm not liking this character at all, but they both really had their moments to shine. And yeah, like with Lemon, I maybe didn't like that whole joke around the Thomas Tank Engine, but I think I liked the explanation of the Diesel one at least the most, and that was a fun reveal too, how he like marked Joey King's character with that. That was fun. And also just like their brothership. Like I like that they would get on each other's nerves, but then also just shouts out to Aaron Taylor Johnson's like acting in that really emotional scene when he thinks Lemon's dead.
Yeah.
Like there was no dialogue in that instance. It's just him and a camera, and he just really
Really good.
sold it. So I definitely thumbs up to him on there. But yeah, that initial like two dialogues between them, it was just a lot of banter, and in my mind, I was just like, I feel like this is just like a Tarantino effort, but like not quite hitting it for me. Might be a little bit harsh, but luckily as the movie went on, like I did really like to grow, or I really did like to grow. I really grew to like both of them. So
Yeah. Anywhere specifically else we're gonna go? Because I feel like I've touched upon all
let's
the
see if there's
characters
any
from my
characters
point.
we're forgetting. Zazie Beetz quickly mentioned. Yeah, I was shocked to see her in this, and I was even more shocked to see her go like 2 minutes after that. She was. I really liked her usage though, and I think just having her like drop like bitch in like every line that she dropped, like it was a good choice. It worked for me. It was just it's a memorable thing because she was in it so little that like, okay, we got a fun action sequence, very tragic death, but just her like bitch lines, it's like her like slogan that she drops. Like at least I picture her just dropping that like with everything that she says, just like, oh bitch. Like it was really funny. So I really liked I really like Zazie Beetz too. I like her in Atlanta. I like her in Deadpool, and fortunately I think she's coming back in Deadpool 3. I think that was announced. So
No, she said she'd like to. That's what she said.
okay.
But nothing
There you
announced yet. Don't do any
Willing-
fake
willing
scoops out
into-
there.
into
Yeah,
existence.
exactly. Willing that paycheck in there, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Everyone else, though, I think we've covered. So yeah, I'm good.
Anything else to mention before we give our final thoughts on rating?
Man, I love Thomas. That was some of the best childhood toys. Wooden railway toys. That was
Those are
some of
fun.
the best.
I never
things
had
ever
them,
as a kid.
but going over to friends' house and like assembling them, that was cool.
Oh yeah, some of the great things. I was definitely. I mean, Alec Baldwin's doing his own thing now, but that was a good movie back in the day. That Thomas the Lost Railway, I think it was, the Alec Baldwin
Really? Like live action?
live action movie with it. Yeah,
Oh my
they
gosh! I didn't know
bridged
that
the
was-
world from Thomas's world to ours. It was great.
Really?
I'm sure Lemon was all about that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking
No
of that,
Japanese episodes, though, as
That,
I
I was
said.
just gonna say that was so.
No
good.
Japanese episodes.
Yeah, that was great. Holy shit.
Hey, it's a British television show. I didn't even know that. I guess it makes sense. A lot of accents.
Final
That's where we're
thoughts.
going.
There you go. Taylor, you go lead off then. Final thoughts and your rating.
Final thoughts. I'm gonna pull an old school Taylor rating here. I'm doing a 10 out of 10. This movie was honestly
Old school Taylor rating.
Old
That's
school
great.
Taylor rating.
Yeah, wow.
This was just fantastic. I had a hell of a good time watching this movie. I loved it start to finish. It was just mixing in great martial arts, action, and just humor. Beautiful cinematography, moments where like the train's zipping off and Aaron Taylor Johnson jumps like dolphin dives in the back and like headbutts his head through the glass. Like so many different wacky cinematic moments, and it's just gonna be something I'm watching the movie, and it's a good thing when I'm watching the movie and I'm already thinking like, okay, when am I gonna buy myself the Blu-ray copy of this movie because I'm loving it so much, and that's just a huge booster. So I highly recommend you go see this movie. It's worth it to see in theaters. I hope it gets so much support because just I think you were mentioning that, Travis, too, like leading into this, like it's probably gonna do more of a streaming movie. Like it's not looking like it's super jazzed amongst like the community out there, which and the critics, which is a shame because this is like this is just like it's great. Like it shines with what Brad Pitt can do in this kind of humorous role with so many other components added in. It really flushes out what all these other actors and actresses can do too, and the levels of humor they throw in there. And it's just, if you haven't seen the trailers and you manage to see this movie without seeing like all the different trailers, then I think that's great because like you guys were talking about, there's certain moments where you forget something, or you forget that this actor is in this movie and it turns into a huge surprise. And that was a big thing for me. Again, I don't think the trailers at all showed Channing Tatum or anything like that.
No,
Seeing him
no.
in
I
there
think
was
him and
great.
Reynolds were hidden.
Yeah, Reynolds was just like the cherry on top.
Carver.
But yeah, fucking that was great. But go see this movie. It's fantastic. 10 out of 10. Bam.
Well, I hope they don't see it now after we spoil it all. Like, still go see it for sure, I guess. But hopefully you listened to our words beforehand. But Kirkland Patzer, where are you on this?
I mean, before I go, I gotta just comment on this. Thomas and Friends apparently went on 24 seasons, and the last episode was aired January 20th, 2021, and the first episode aired 1984 October.
Yeah,
amazing.
crazy.
That is insane to me.
Went on way too long, that torture.
Longer than Peaky Blinders did.
Absolutely, yeah, it's sad. We're getting spin-off movies though, so we're good.
Hopefully a crossover with Thomas soon too.
What we're talking about, Bullet Train. So yeah, I love this movie. It was fantastic. There's definitely, I think, some things that I had minor cons with, but yeah, it was just such a fun time. Like it's very rewatchable. I think Brad Pitt is just he's so great in this. Like I mentioned before, like he's just a 10 out of 10 in my eyes in this, and I think not all the other characters are 10 out of 10s, but just having him as the centerpiece just lifts this movie up so much, and it's a really fun concept of just having it basically take place like on the train, basically the whole movie, other than the big crash at the end and some flashback sequences and stuff. But yeah, I really like where we were. The music and the visuals, everything just added to that fun aspect, and yeah, I really did not expect to be laughing as hard as I did, and like I don't think I've laughed that hard in a theater for a while, so that was lots of fun, and yeah, it was a great time. 9 out of 10. I think I'll give my rating on this one. Some minor cons, but it was good.
Yeah, well, I think I've said most of it, but it blew me away. Couldn't believe it. I was going last because I was surprised Taylor threw the old school Taylor rating there. But yeah, no, I'm a 10 out of 10 as well. I think it's in my top 3 right now, which is crazy because I think that's passing. Nope, that's passing Turning Red. And those are 2 films I'm like, oh, these are dead fire sure hits. Passing Northman, like these are for sure Golden Geeks. Now I know for a fact, and even Top Gun, I know there's like 2 great movies that I'm for sure. And we still got months to go of the year, but I know there's like for sure 2 great movies, no matter what movies make it in, that I'm gonna have to leave out at the end of the year when we do Golden Geeks as far as the top 5. Oh, that's gonna be a brutal cast. But yeah, I'm hoping when I rewatch it, it'll have the same effect. Also, won't have the same effect because it won't be in the theater, stuff like that. But I feel like it really will. There's some films where you go, oh, I don't know. After you see a comedy, I had a really great time, but what's going to happen if I see it again? There's just so much delicious stuff to eat up in this movie. I hope it gets support. Like I said, me saying that, it's not that I don't want it to. It's just like I said, I think this movie lots of people are going to see on a Netflix or something. Like, oh yeah, that was a really good movie. I would have saw that in the theaters if I knew. But I think the trailers don't do it justice of how good it is, because I was just expecting a fun action romp with Brad Pitt and some actors I like, and you get that, but so much more. And the fun action romp is just like, that's a very non-descriptive way of saying it, because it's so much more than that. So yeah, it took me by surprise. I can't believe how much I enjoyed this film. So yeah, 10 out of 10. I think it's in my top 3 right now. Can't recommend this movie enough, and I can't wait to watch it again. I'm like, I don't buy much physical media, but this might be one that I'll be putting on the Christmas list, because I could. And I also just like, this is like a classic like put on movie. Like if Netflix is on, stuff like that, like I could just see, what do I want to watch? You know what? This is a good time, because you still could, like, once you know the story, if you want to like tune out, nap stuff. But man, awesome, just an awesome movie. So that's Bullet Train. Let us know on the Discord, the Patreon, the YouTube, the Facebook, the Twitter, whatever it may be, what your thoughts were. What do you think of the movie? What do you rated it? Yeah. This is it for our Bullet Train review. We thank you very much for tuning in, and I promise when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.